This is my time, my grind. Promise I'ma do what's right. Open eyes, see the sign. Now I give it all like.
Hello, my chunsters. My name is Glenn Chun, and it is time to have some fun with Wrestlecast, episode 8. Today, we're doing things a little bit differently on this show. Oh, yes, we are, because today we don't have like a huge international guest who's done 1,000,001 matches. I'm talking to you about him, because today it's the trainee edition, which means we have a guest and man who I train with personally. I have for you Luke Andrews.
Hello. That was less exciting than how you plugged it, but yeah.
Less exciting than how I know. I thought that the way I introduced you there was actually kind of good.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. That was yeah, magic.
So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I had a long day yesterday, so I've enjoyed a nice relaxing Sunday.
But then first of all, we're going to talk about today wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're like, well, yeah, it's Wrestlecast, but no, we're going to talk about wrestling, like why we like wrestling, what got us interested, how we got started in training, what it was that finally, made us do it, our favorite thing about wrestling, I guess, and I suppose the ways in which our lives have been improved by wrestling. And the reason why I wanted to do this, just briefly, because you hear a lot about the pain and the suffering and the injuries and the sacrifice, and sometimes you probably wonder to yourself, like, why would anybody want to do that? It's like, what kind of lunatic would want to go get their arms broken for minimal money? It's like, why would you do that? So hopefully today we can shed a side of the business that hopefully will inspire you to follow suit and join in, which means you can expect plenty of plugs on local schools. So yeah, that's all going to happen. But first, you will have to forgive me if I start squeaking. I have basically wrecked my voice from doing 2 wrestling shows, from attending 2 wrestling shows this week. But first of all, I wanted to ask, who are we? Like, what was it that got us interested in pro wrestling? So, Luke, I'm going to let you take this one away. What was it that got you first interested in wrestling?
Well, just growing up watching it as a kid. My mum and dad watched WWE back in the day, when they were growing up, and it was a thing that was around during my childhood, during the Attitude Era of WWEF at the time. WCW and stuff, so it was always on. I sort of kind of maybe was just sort of forced into watching it, and it was just something I fell in love with. Some of the I don't know, just some of the characters and some of the things you saw, and wrestling for me was incredibly exciting as a child. So it was always something I really wanted to pursue. I liked the idea of standing in a wrestling ring with 20,000 people cheering your name. Do you know what I mean? Because you put on such a good show that was always a dream to be that person.
Yeah, like for me, I've always told people about the story of Kane coming out and interrupting the Road Dogg, big scary dude turning in the mask. I've told that story before, but actually, I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, actually, I think it goes back further than that for me, because what it was got a video. It was WCW, Superstars Edition 1, and it was a video DVD about Sting and Goldberg up until the point where did it culminate? Yeah, Goldberg still hadn't been defeated at that point. So that's the sort of time frame we're talking about. And I had that on VHS tape, and I used to watch it over and over and over again. And I think that was like the start of my actual love of it. That's why I think to begin with I was more of a WCW fan than a WWE fan, like, admittedly. And then of course we found out about WWF on Channel 4. It was Heat at the time, and then I started watching that, and I was like, yeah, hooked. But yeah, the funny thing was it was that video.
But I mean, those VHS stuff. I mean, I had a sideboard cupboard full of VHS, whether they were taped or whether they were actual videos of the main events. Those that old stuff, Unforgiven and Rock Bottom and things like that. I mean, I was allowed to watch all that stuff. It was awesome time to be a child.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. And then I suppose, so we go from there, and then we have to get started in wrestling. So he's going to be on with us soon. So my question for you is, how did you get started in pro wrestling?
As I said, I always wanted to do it growing up, but where we live in the country, there isn't a lot of wrestling opportunities. Than there would be probably up country, and I was always struggling to find places that I could train. I'd always look up online, and it would always divert me to further upfield. So I hadn't started it as early as I would have liked to, but I come across it randomly one day. I was in the car with my partner, and I came across a poster for a show, and I looked further into it, and then I came to a boot camp with Cornish Pro Wrestling. And I was a little bit on the fence. I was excited the fact that there was something around, but I was a little on the fence. I think it was a bit of fear, if I'm honest. And then I went and saw a live show, and I was like, that's incredible. I mean, the crowd, the whole show. I mean, I just enjoyed that feeling. You could feel it in the air. And I walked away, and I went, I'm doing it. And I walked out the door, and I paid for my boot camp, and I waited patiently until I think it was like a month or so later, and I turned up, and Cornish Pro Wrestling, opened up their arms.
Yeah, for me it was I had the very very same problem for you. I was looking at wrestling schools. I was hoping to start a good 4 years ago. I was hoping that would be the case. Looking at wrestling schools, and it's all. The usual stuff comes up, WEW in Norwich and places like that, and I'm like, I live in Cornwall and I haven't got enough money.
There's no wrestling around. I know.
It's like, and then of course we find out about the boot camp, and it's like, oh, okay. We're like, yeah, go to boot camp. This is gonna be awesome. Work gets in the way, so. We're like, this is very much the same story for Marcus as well, because we basically knew each other from work beforehand, so we knew this was very much the same thing. And anyway, we're like, work's got in the way, and then we just go to ourselves, we're like, bugger. And anyway, Terry, Rich put in a good word for us, and Terry then got back to us and said, well, here's the deal, how about you come backstage and then just join the next one? So you can see what we're all about. We're like, thank you, and that's basically it. Found out about AP through CPW, and that moment though when you first go through the doors, like you're just outside. It's like, oh, here we go.
There's a definite feel. I mean, walking in at the boot camp, the very first boot camp, I was really nervous. And Terry was really, really welcoming about the whole thing, and put our worries at rest, I suppose. And John Hardin, who is a great wrestler, was leading the training, and they both made the day so much fun. But I genuinely thought I was going to die after the first cardio bit. I was so unfit. I thought that was going to be it for me.
And the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is I can now officially announce our second guest for tonight, because he is Mr. M.O. Marcus Osborne.
You mispronounced my name. It's actually MCO, but I'll let you off on that one. Hello, people. How is everybody doing this evening?
Oh,
hello.
We're both good. We're
good. Glad you could join us.
I can't really hear you guys very well. For some reason, the laptop was playing up, so you're kind of on my phone. You can't really see my beautiful face for some reason. The camera isn't working. right next to the thing. I'm currently trying to charge my phone. Hang on, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Don't leave. Don't leave me.
Glad you can join us.
Tech issues, man. Gotta love them. So anyway, we finally get our interest. We get started. But I suppose the final question is, what was it that actually finally made you take the plunge? What was it that actually made you think to yourself, you know what? I'm tired of just being a fan. I want to actually do this. This time, when you find out about your boot camp, it's like, you know what? I am going to go to that. Because I think I'll start, like, so you know what I mean. It's like, for me, we found out about LEP. We're backstage at CPW, and we're like, yes. I got bit by the bug in a way which I've never been before. I was like, no, this is just something you have to do. I was like, you know what? It just tweaked into my mind. I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of just being a fan. I've wanted to do this for so long. You know what? It's now or it's never. This is the best time I think it could possibly be for me.
Yeah. It was, it's the same. I mean, it's one of those things, if don't start too late. I mean, the earlier the better, I guess. But the opportunity was there. I had been looking for so long for an opportunity to train, and it was one of those things of stop worrying about it and just go and do it. And I'm so glad I did, because it was a great couple of days boot camp, and they were incredibly helpful. And they sent me on my way, and I started with LEP, and it's just been so much fun. It's just been great fun. That's it's brought a lot of people together, I think, as well.
Oh, wait, what? Is it my turn? Sorry, I'm really having difficulty. Yeah, well, it was, I caught basically the tail end of what you were talking about there, but it was basically well, the thing is, when you first start watching wrestling, it's obviously the dream to actually get into the ring and do it. The trouble is, kind of where we live, there's like not a whole lot going on. Well, at least there wasn't in terms of actual training, and because I mean, companies didn't really start up until sort of near enough, sort of 2008, 2009. There was nowhere really that you could go to kind of train, which is why it's awesome now, because we actually have places where you can go and get trained by professionals from different areas of the country, with different backgrounds and skill sets, so you learn so much more. But to actually get in the ring and get training, it's just one of those things. It's once you're a fan, it's always there. It's in the back of your mind, and it's just a case of getting that little push and that jump to say, okay, this is actually going to happen. So when we went to the CPW show, I missed the first one, and I'm still really pissed off about that. We met up. We did the setting up the ring and everything else. Got a chance to talk to some of the guys, and like Glenn said, we managed to get talking to marvelous Mark Walsh about the training school, and we just kind of said, okay, there's training. It's not very far away. Why don't we just go along and see what happens? And that's basically what we did. And ever since then, you get bitten by it. You start finding out that you're not made of glass. You can actually take, you can take landing in the ring and everything else. And once you start doing it, it's just like, I love just getting in there. Once you get bitten by it, once you have been bitten, there's kind of no anti-venom for it. Once you've had that bite of wrestling and you've tasted it, it's like, okay, I'm either going to keep on going or I'm going to stop entirely. And it's just one of those things where you just keep going, and you make friendships, you get to meet cool people, you get to do so much stuff that you never thought you would do from sitting on your sofa just watching it on TV. You get to meet so many people, you get to learn so much, you get to... Oh, Glenn disappeared. Okay, it's just me. Excellent. Pressure! I love it. You just get the taste for it, and you just keep going, and everything just becomes more and more fun every single time. Yeah. It's kind of annoying that we didn't have any training schools a lot later, because I worked out as well, I think, unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong, I'm not entirely sure, but in terms of trainees at the academy, I'm actually the oldest trainee there, I think.
Oh, really?
thinking that the other day. I'm like the oldest person to actually get in there, like out of the guys that we know of our group that started training together. I'm actually the oldest one there. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that one, Luke.
But I mean, kind of like what you were saying about bitten by the bug. I mean, anyone that wrestles or anyone else, it's kind of like an addiction, isn't it? It kind of sounds corny, but it is like an addiction. You go there and you do it, and you can't wait until the next training session because you want to get back in the ring and you want to keep learning. And it's not one of those things you can get bored of. And I think if it is, then you shouldn't be doing it. It's
I
still...
mean, you kind of know, like, when you get in there, like on your first ever kind of training session, you end up surprising yourself because you're like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be sweaty, blah, blah, blah. But you walk away from it and you're just like, damn, I can actually do this. And you get the bite for it and you're just like, wow, I just want to keep going back. I mean, I'm saying that now. I mean, there's probably guys watching this now going, oh, but he hasn't been back for quite a while. And I know I haven't actually been back training for quite a while. That's mainly because I decided that in terms of fitness and strength and everything, that seemed to be the thing that was like holding me back slightly. So I've taken some time out and I've been to the gym. Hey, he's back.
There he is. There he is.
I have to apologise for what just happened. My computer just turned itself off.
Oh.
Now you're on the phone thing as well.
You're on with us.
Basically, I'm on the phone until I can get myself back online on the PC. Sorry about that. Today has not been our friend, has it?
No.
We were just basically just carrying on the point what we were saying about training and stuff. Just to finish up what I was saying is like, I mean, I haven't actually been back in about coming up towards a month and a half. But yeah, I am going to be returning next week. I will be returning to the LEP Academy.
Yeah.
Yes. Like it, son.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, what's been the best part of it? Because for me, I've been trying to think, like, what's it I've been loving about wrestling? And for me, it's a combination, I think, of two things. For one, it's the fact that you get to meet so many like-minded people who have always loved wrestling and who don't sort of look at you and judge you for liking wrestling. Like, I've had that before, where I've been talking to people and they're like, "You like wrestling?" But hey, well done, mate. But there's that, and the fact that I'm kind of a bit of a I like adrenaline, and that point when I go that bit when I'm flying through the air, like the bit where you're actually being thrown around, like just the bit just before the landing and the pain bit. I actually quite like that bit. It's like, yeah, I can fly, but no, I can't. Poof, ah!
Yeah. I mean, I love learning new things. I, just pushing myself to do things that 5 months ago I wouldn't have even thought I was capable of doing, and I can. And also, now that since I found that first thing about shows around here, I've gone to so many, and seeing, as I said before, the guys that are on the scene now doing the shows, what they do is phenomenal. They raise a bar for trainees who want to get to their level. I said about Jason King, who is just, he's so animated and he's just so good at what he does. He raises that bar of, can you be that entertaining? I was saying about the marvelous Mark Walsh. He is a natural bad guy, isn't he? Really, and he raises the bar. Can you piss off a crowd as much as he does? Because he just does it so well. And
challenge accepted.
I mean, those guys. I mean, John Harding. I mean, he puts in so much charisma into his matches, and it's kind of like watching a fan be able to wrestle, because I think you see that in him when he performs, and there's just so many good guys that are just so good at what they do, and they raise the bar, and I enjoy that, looking at it going.
You enjoy the challenge then?
Yeah, I enjoy the challenge of going, oh, I'd like to be just as good one day. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Marcus, yourself?
Yeah, well, basically just like what you guys were touching upon. I mean, one of the things I've liked the most about training as well, I mean, obviously learning new things and pushing your limits and saying, you know, oh, I can actually do this, and getting support and encouragement from those guys. The thing is as well, it's the opportunities to go to things like local shows, because when you're a wrestling fan, you know, that covers so many spectrums. Because when you say you're a wrestling fan, you could watch just, let's say, WWE. You could watch just TNA, just Ring of Honor, just NJPW, just CZW. Jesus! You know, anything like that. Whereas when you, like, scratch the surface and you actually start training and you get to hang out with some of the local talent and get to be a chance to be a part of the shows and stuff, you just realize that, especially I would say in the UK scene right now, UK wrestling scene is hot. There are so many talented guys out there. It's unbelievable, and you get the chance to kind of meet them, talk to them, have a chance to listen to what they've got to say, the stories they tell, you know, study the way they are in the ring, ask them for advice and things like that, and you kind of just get like a first-person perspective on it, as opposed to being a third person where you just sit back and watch and think, oh, that's cool, that's cool. And the thing is as well, it's like things like opportunities and stuff, because when you start training, you know, you start finding out things about yourself, and you can basically just build on that and become a better person, and you hang out with so many great people. And I mean, the support and the encouragement you get, I mean, the guys that I've met, and I'm sure that you've met, and everybody else, you know, our group that we've all met, they're just such cool guys. You know, there's no false prejudices about them. They love what they do, highly passionate about what they do, which is, you know, always fantastic, because you kind of feed off that positivity. And getting the chance to just hang out with them, learn new stuff, improve yourself as well, you know, in terms of like health and actually being in the ring and everything like that. You just get a chance to improve and build on the, you know, basically become a better person than what you were X amount of months, days, years, whatever ago. So, and the opportunities are just fantastic. British wrestling right now is the place to be.
You know what? Mark has just said everything I was about to say in response to this next question, which was, how has it benefited me? Like, what's been the major changes in me since we started wrestling? We don't even have to do that now. I was about to ask that, but yeah.
I can always touch upon it. I mean, you can go into more detail with that, because I mean, I know you're kind of thinking in the same vein as me, but like, we noticed as well. I mean, I'm not sure so much about Luke, obviously. We started a little bit earlier at LEP than Luke did. I mean, with like us, we noticed, like, I'm sure Luke has as well, like when you start wrestling, your attitude towards so much just changes. I don't know what it is. It's really hard to describe, but you just start feeling so much better about yourself, and you're like, God damn, I'm doing things that people in their lives would never even think about attempting, let alone actually get in there and do it, you know? And it's just such a great feeling. It's like a sense of self-empowerment almost, to actually get in there and be like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, it's like, it's confidence, isn't it? Once you realise, hang on a minute, I can pick somebody up for a body slam. I can do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's true. It's like, and the fitness side of it as well. Like for me, my physical fitness is just so much better than what it was. It's a huge confidence thing. Admittedly, yeah. Is it much the same for you?
I agree. I think if you confidence-wise, yeah, definitely. I think there's prospects, there's things to look forward to, you know, and you know that hard work pays off, especially when you see it in other guys that are doing it as well, and who are at the level that they are. There's goals and there's places to go, and I think that's exciting, especially if you recognise in yourselves that it's paying off. You're getting better. You're learning. You're becoming a better person in the ring, out the ring. That's exciting for me. You know, there are things to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that me and Marcus will attest to in our line of work. You do not have, and to finally to work so hard, but to actually see that there is something that you'll get something out of it, rather than where we work, where you work so hard and nothing. If anything, just threatening of being fired if it continues this way. It's like, what? But anyway, that is And that was all the questions, because we're now going to start doing plugs. I told you that it's a training episode, talking about like people at the very, very, very start. So we're going to talk about schools and their trainers, in the hope that if anybody has heard stories about gaining confidence, getting in better shape, and they want to do all this themselves, like I would recommend you start. If you're on the fence, then that's a very good sign that you should start. So we're gonna plug the local schools in the southwest of England, so that you know where you can go, so that you don't have our problem of not knowing where. So we're gonna start right here in Cornwall with Cornish Pro Wrestling Boot Camps.
CP dub.
Exactly. Now these boot camps, they run every single fortnight. The last one was yesterday, on the 5th, which means 14 days from now. What's the matter on that? Yes, it's going to be the next one. It's going to be the 19th of March. They're now reduced price at £20 per session. So instead of, I can't remember what it was. I think it's 25. So
25. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're now £20 per session. That's 5 hours of training. You get 2 hours of lunch break and then another 2 hours. And it's all really good. It's good stuff. You'll be taught fundamentals. You'll be taught how to actually apply a wrist lock. You know, after a pro wrestling boot camp, you will be able to tell a wrist lock from a wrist watch, which is you know, and you'll learn all this stuff. You'll be taught about the science of wrestling, and because there is an art to it, and you'll learn this stuff. And Marcus is pulling crazy faces. Yes, you will learn about that type of thing. And we'll also have, because it's the same trainer, you also have PWA, the Plymouth Wrestling Alliance. I've forgotten the name of the gym. That's bad. But you also have Plymouth Wrestling Association School. I will link everything in the description as well. And the reason why I mentioned them as well is because we have John Harding is the head trainer for both companies. And I today, as well as just plugging the schools, I thought it'd be a hell of a good idea. Why don't we plug the trainers? Because these are the people who make the schools what they are. And that's one thing I wanted to do, which I haven't done before. So I wanted to talk about John, because here is a man who tells stories that hopefully I won't tell too much of his stories, so that hopefully when John Harding comes on the podcast, John, we are waiting for you. Your picture's up there.
Get on the podcast.
Yeah, hopefully it will happen soon.
Just do it.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be telling his stories then. But here's a man who's spent 15, I think it might even be 16 years in the business. He's done TNA British Boot Camp #2, so he has so much experience. He's also got some acting things going on for himself. But here's a man who for me, he can break down he's quite a light-hearted chap, so he's more than happy to have a giggle with his trainees. But the most important thing is I find he's able to break it down. He's like, okay, so this is what you do with this. I mean,
there's no slacking, is there? You can't slack with John either. John, you know, from my point of view, is a great guy. He's an incredible wrestler. He's a great trainer. Like, you know, he was the first trainer I had down at the CPW boot camps, and I've trained with him since. And you can have a laugh with you guys, but you know, he wants the best out of you, and he'll work your ass off, and it's I can't say anything better about him really. He's just a genuinely good guy, good trainer.
With John, it's I always remember the first time I met John. It was about 7 years ago. It was back when PWA was basically just starting, and we went to a show. And I always remember that spot he had. He was in the main event with Johnny Sicko, and this is a spot I've only ever seen once. I've never seen it before. He put Sicko into a tree of woe, and then broke a vinyl record across Sicko's shoulder, like his clavicle bone there. and this thing
As
just
you do.
shattered into splinters, and the entire crowd just kind of went, and it was just stunned silence. And I've never ever since seen that spot, and I just remember thinking at that time, Jesus, man, this guy's good. This guy's really good. And the way he told the story was sick. They had an incredible match. The entire show itself actually was fantastic. As a trainer, I have not a bad word to say about John. He's very patient. He will talk to you. He's happy to answer questions. You can come to him with any problems or issues you have. You can, say to him, I don't feel like this is going right. And he's like, okay, well, just think about it this way. Try doing it this way. Try doing it that way. He has time for people. And just generally all around just a great guy to be around. And I mean, he's got so much going on. And I really do honestly wish him all the best for the future with his acting and, especially with CPW as well. I'm really hoping that this company will boom because it deserves to. Everyone there works their asses off. They deserve every single piece of praise that they get. Any criticisms, I'm not happy about. I don't enjoy criticism, so knock my company. It's just, he's just such a good guy. He is one of the guys. I mean, especially if you live in Cornwall and you're thinking, I don't know where to go, where to train, he is the man to contact to get in touch about it. As well as Terry and Alice Speller as well. Those guys, can't knock those guys at all. Guys that run CPW doing fantastic work. And, it's just great to have the opportunity to be a part from that and learn from John himself and, some of the other guest trainers that have been down there. It's just fantastic. So John Harding is the man to talk to if you're in the Cornwall area and you think, I want to start training. Get in contact with John Harding.
Now you say that, but the first time I spoke to John Harding, I had paid for the boot camps, but I was getting really impatient because it was like a month away, if not a bit longer. I really wanted to start training, so I started going on a wrestling training stalking thing, trying to find people locally. And John Harding's name had come up in a conversation on Facebook, and I had messaged him. I had privately messaged him, and I said, "Look, you have no idea who I am, but I'm gathering that you are a professional wrestler. This is where your name was put there. Can I get some? Do you do training, that sort of thing?" I heard nothing, and I was really gutted because I was like, "Oh, this dude looks like he really knows what he'd be talking about," and I heard zero. CPW boot camp, the first one I go to, the head trainer is actually John, and I recognised him straight away and went, they messaged me back. So you got a suplex or two for that. But no, he's a good guy and a great trainer.
I think the reason John doesn't, he's so busy. He's got so much.
Oh yeah,
He's such a
he's
busy
going
guy.
places. He's definitely going places. He's got the heart. He's got the dedication. He wants it. He's like what we were saying earlier on, when you're a kid and you want to be a wrestler. I think a lot of when John talks to you about it, it's like it's John as a child telling you what he wants, and he's done well enough to get where he is already. So big things for him.
Yeah, and you talk about going places, which is a nice link to the next place I want to talk about, because you want to talk about going places. Well, this next company is definitely going places. It's LEP, Limited Edition Promotions. Now this, we've got Academy. We've got the 7th LEP 7 coming up March 26th. We've been announced in May. They're going to be making a debut in Exeter. There's also a show happening in April. Haven't announced where, but we will get that to you whenever we can. And there's exciting things are happening. And LEP is based in Torquay on Abbey Road. And there's so much you can do in there. It's £30 a month, and this gives you access to Mondays for one-to-ones. You have to pre-book those with the head trainer Danny Walsh. Then you get Tuesday nights an advanced class. You do have to be invited to that one, but if you do, that's a very good class to be in. Then you have Wednesdays, which has an hour. The first hour is a kids session. And then from 7:30, it's an adults media session. So you'll be practicing your presenting skills, like how to present yourself in front of the camera, which is a very important part. And then you get Thursday, which is a basics class, and Friday, which is another basics class. So it'll teach you more about how not to break your neck, and type of things like that. Then, because also that's very important.
It's a good thing to learn, not how to not break your neck.
Yeah, because there's a very, very, very real chance you can. Saturday is, again, one-to-ones. You have to organise those with Danny. And Sunday is a kids session. And, for £30 a month, I think adults are allowed to go to the kids sessions if they want to and help. But it's not really for adults training. So that's something you want to bear in mind. But yeah, it's absolutely a phenomenal place to learn. They've got a ring permanently set up, which periodically gets taken down and put back up again. So you learn that, so you know how to build a ring, which is important. If you're going to shows, you want to know how to do that. So much you can learn there. It's ridiculous. They've got gym equipment on hand, so if you're injured, if you've hurt yourself during training, but you can still lift a weight, you can do that. And I suppose that means we should talk about Danny and Mark, because Danny and Mark Walsh, the team are pretty marvellous. They run this thing, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Danny, when me and Mark first started, Danny was there every week. I think Mark had things going on, and Danny was there. And oh man. The thing that I really want to say about Danny, really want to say about him is, and you cannot and as a coach, this is something you cannot undervalue enough. It's so important. Danny makes you believe that it's possible. You'll be presented with something, and you'll be like, "Oh my god!" But Danny will make you believe in yourself, and he will make you believe that it's possible. And as a coach, that's almost the most important thing, I think, in a coach, is actually encouraging you to actually do something. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Danny's great. I mean, he's a good bloke. I mean, he's a good guy. He's an incredible trainer. He's what's the word? Is it empathetic, or is that right? Is that the right word? But
yeah.
A challenge came to me, and it was something that I was struggling with, and I was a little bit fearful of, if I'm honest. And he wasn't horrible about it, but he was pushing me, and it was a good pushing. It was, tell it to fuck off, do it, you can do it, and I think I could do it a little bit. But it's the case of, he's not saying, okay, well, you can sit to the side, don't worry about it. It's, you're going to do it because you can do it. Don't tell yourself you can't, because that's when you failed. And and that's, Danny and Mark together are a great team. Both good guys.
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely no bad words to say about Danny. He is just so fantastic at what he does. I mean, we've had the chance to, watch him in person and train with him. As far as a coach goes, like Luke was saying, in terms of pushing you and saying, okay, come on, you can do it, you will do it, and teaching you so many new things that you thought you could never ever do, Danny is there to help push you and say, okay, you can do this, you will do this, and you will get better at what you do. He expects 100 and 110% from all of his students. If you give him 110%, he'll give you 120 back. He's just one of those guys that you can just go to. He's such a character as well. There's no ill feelings with Danny. You can talk to him about anything. He loves a laugh and a joke, but he's all business as well. Same goes to Mark. Mark, I have nothing bad to say about Mark either. Mark is he's just out there. He's just awesome. He's such a good bad guy. It's fantastic.
He is.
I refer to him as a CM Punk of anything.
Yeah, here's the thing that you need to know about Mark as well, because there have been times where there's been 2 times, right? Once I massively hit my head in training, like it just bounced off the ring badly, and I was like, oh, that's got to be the end. I'm feeling out of it. And then there's another time when I was I hadn't slept for I think 27 hours at the point of turning up. I was like, I'm gonna be there I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna try and learn. And both times, Mark came over to me and he told me just how it is. He's like, okay, well, if that happens to you in a match, you can't just stop. You have to go. You keep going. He's like, if you're tired and you're in a match, you have to keep going. And he's like, he told me, that's the thing with Mark. You put in 100. He's like just like Danny in that sense we just mentioned. But if you start putting up excuses, he'll start slapping you in the face and saying, no, don't. And he will tell you flat out why you're an idiot for doing it. And that's the thing, and you need that as well. Sometimes I think you need a slap in the face, and you need to be told, no, that wasn't right. This is right, and this is how it has to be done. And Mark will be the first to do that to you.
I think with our experience at LEP and our experience with CPW, if your intention to turn up and train is to sit there and watch or to give up at the first hurdle, don't turn up. That's not what it's about. You know, if your intention is to think, oh, I'll try it, I'll dip my feet in the water a little bit, but if it gets a bit too tough, don't bother. It's a waste of your time and everyone's time. You want to be there, you work your ass off, and Danny and Mark will push you, and so will John down at CPW. They will push you because they'll see something. And we've all been there. We've all been at the hurdle where we've gone, oh my God, I need to sit down, or I can't do this. I'm too scared to do this. And then they push you, and you do it, and you feel so much better from it. It's a tough game, but you've got to go in it with dedication.
Exactly. And now there's another school that I've been talking about for ages is going to be reopening, and it is going to be reopening, and I finally have a date, and I finally have some details to bring to you about this school, because I've talked to you about keep an eye on Twitter, keep an eye on Facebook to find out when this happens. But DWA is now restarted. Last night it restarted. It's opened its doors again.
DWA.
Which I'm going to be talking about DWA a lot next week, I believe. I'll tell you why after this little plug. But DWA, it reopens its school on March the 13th at 1 p.m. This is happening at the Exeter Boxing and Martial Arts Centre on Beacon Lane in, guess where? Exeter!
Oh!
That's a shocker.
I wasn't expecting that one.
It's 4 hours of training, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for £10 per session, and your first session is half price. At least that's what it says in the Facebook, and I will link you all to this so you can see the flyer. And here's the thing, it doesn't say who the head trainer is, but I believe, you know what, I've got somebody coming on next week, hopefully. Got to give him an extra phone call. Fingers crossed. I need to phone him again, because after today I've been, again, a bit busy, but tomorrow I have time on my hands. I can give him the phone call. I asked him last night if he would do it. He said yes, but he'll be on next week, hopefully, because next week we have. I just want to announce this right now. I want to start the hype train. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about this because next week my guest is none other than the UK Dominator.
Ooh.
Now,
turn into that.
That is special. Now, next week you're going to find out all about the UK Dominator, what he's about, because this man is incredible, I think.
One of the best, actually. I think he is one of the best around.
Well, I mean, we're talking about trainers, right? UK Dominator pretty much trains all the trainers that we just talked about. So, I mean, he is the ultimate, I think, trainer in the area. And I think UK Dominator is going to be heading up training at DWA Academy. I'll tell you what, I will be asking Dom about all this next week, hopefully, assuming all goes well. And that's going to be awesome because, yeah, I will. And by the way, every school, everything we've talked to you about, I will link you in the description to CPW, PWA, LEP, and DWA. But thanks to tech issues, this has now gone on for over an hour. And I know that's a long old slog. I think we said everything we wanted to say because today I really wanted to present a good side of the business, a side which you don't hear about very often, because you always hear about it bloody hurts, I have to sacrifice so much, and you wonder why would anybody do it? And I think today we have covered why. I think why we as people go through all that. And I believe today has been a very... I hope that people have heard today and thought to themselves, yes, I want to give wrestling a go. Anybody who's been on the fence, I hope they've heard that and are now wanting to start. And like I say, next week we're going from the very beginnings of wrestling to the next level. It's the UK Dominator next week. I'm so excited about that. This is a man who you just my admiration for the UK Dominator is off the scale. I can't even put it into words. Just how much I was so nervous about asking him yesterday if he could do this, just because you see he's busy, and you think, is it disrespectful to go over and ask him? Like, I was like, I won't know if I don't ask. I do, and so hopefully next week, the utter legend that is the UK Dominator will be here. That's going to be huge. But for now, I would like to say to you all, thank you very much for watching. We're sorry about the tech issues. There will be an edited version of this show where there is no tech issues, hopefully. We'll cut all that garbage out. For now, I must say a huge thank you to my two guests tonight, Luke Andrews and Marcus Osborne. Thank you for coming on, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Not a problem.
Like it, son, like it?
Like it.
Yeah, and actually, whilst we're saying like it, why don't you like this video, son, like it? Because that was Wrestlecast episode 8 in 2 parts, or if you're watching it in the edited version, 1 part, and you're hearing about tech issues which you haven't seen. But yes, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next week, because next week is going to be huge. So until then, take care, everybody. Thank you for watching, and good night. Happy Mother's Day.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på spel.